All right, I have considerably expanded my store, The Art of Mary Church, which is on Shopify, to about, I think when I made a previous video, I had only 3 pages. Now there's about 13 pages and 180 something images, but there will be a lot more too. I'm digging up quite a few of them. And then, so I just managed to unearth this series that she was working on at the time that I was with her back in 2016 in St. Petersburg, Florida. This is what she was working on. It was her magnum opus. She didn't quite finish it. These 2 middle pieces are not done. And it was based on my book, The Age of Catastrophe, which she had read before meeting me and loved the book. It became her favorite book. And so it inspired her to do this series of 11, they're pen and ink drawings, actually. They're not really paintings, pen and ink drawings, beautifully detailed. And at 11, the number 11 is not an accident. So what we're looking at here is, so I've given them titles. She never titled anything. She was fine with my titles. I would suggest a title and she would go, oh, that's good, that works. So the first one here is The Age of Catastrophe number 1, Metamorphosis, which is where these creatures that she makes up make their first appearance. These strange creatures, as though this were an alternate universe. They've got like wolves' heads, sort of. They look very canine, but yet they have human-type skeletons, but they're constantly metamorphosing, just like the figures in dreams and myth. Okay, so that's the first one. And then so far, these are only available as posters, but then I'm going to put them in the format of art prints on canvas, and then also framed posters. So that's just a gradual process. Part 2 is called Symmetrical Activity. Very, very detailed her work is. I used to watch her sit on the couch and draw. She'd just go into a trance. So these beings look like they're constructing a world, but then a catastrophe hits, and here we have the flood. A kind of Noachian flood hits. And as I say, she was still working on this when I was there. She hadn't finished it. You can see some of the lines that she hadn't yet filled in. But this is about in the sequence where I think it would go, where we have a major Noachian type flood that wipes out the civilization of these creatures. And then another one that she left unfinished. I think these are the only 2 that are unfinished, which I've titled Overwhelmed, which is exactly what they look like. The flood has completely overwhelmed their situation, destroyed their civilization, and now they have to rebuild it. And let's see. So then number 5 is A Dying World. 18 by 24 is the largest format. It's a dying world now. Everything is in process of disintegration. All the vectors are down, pouring back into the watery abyss rather than up. And then this to me looks very much like it would be after the catastrophe, like a flood that hits New Orleans and leaves it in ruins for a long, long time, and they have to bring in the Army Corps of Engineers to rebuild all the dams and so forth. And I talk about that hurricane in my book, The Age of Catastrophe. And then let's see, we have the rebuilding process now, rebuilding a world. They begin the process of assembly. Notice that the vectors in the painting are up. We've got the phallic trees, and the male phallus is the symbol of the rise and fall of civilizations. The ziggurats rise, then they fall. The pyramids rise, then they fall. That's the old meaning of the dying and reviving lunar god, who was male when the sun was female, back before the Indo-European and Indo-Aryan invasions. Okay, so the vectors are going up, they're rebuilding, and then we have one that looks like they're putting a lot of energy into the situation. So I've called it flux. She's got these waves, lines of energy, and they're pouring energy into these, whatever they are, they're like dimensions of some kind, alternate realities. Mary Church's imagination was very astral, very tuned into astral forces, the astral plane, mythological images. A lot of spooky doppelgangers, demons, and beasts haunt her art. That's why I like it so much. I'm just a huge fan of horror fiction. I grew up reading it. I love monsters. And so this one looks like integration to me. Things are coming back together. The cosmic axis, the world tree that Herta von Dächen talks about in her book Hamlet's Mill, which Mary knew. She was very, very well read. She had heard me talking about it, and she knew about it. The fall of the world axis, which leads to the precession of the equinoxes. And here the axis has been restored phallically. There's a line. Everything is in order here. The architecture has brought everything back into place. There's a tunnel down there. She has a separate painting of the tunnel, which could be included in this series, called Awareness, which is a close-up of the tunnel. It's on here on the site. And then so after they've integrated everything, then we have the rebirth. We have Death Bird Rising. This is essentially the phoenix bird that rises up out of the ashes. Numerologically, it's perfect for number 10, where a sequence ends and then begins again. You've got the sequence starting over again, and it's rising up from the watery abyss and from these dimensions, whatever they are, these astral dimensions, spreading its wings. And I think this is one of her absolute masterpieces. And then this cool thing, I like this guy quite a bit. I entitled it The Explosive Power of a New God. That's essentially what it looks like they've got here. They've created a new religion and brought a new God into being. Like Nietzsche says, 2,000 years and not a single new God? And as Heidegger said, only a God can save us. Well, here's the God. Mary Church has provided it for us. All right, so these are all available in various sizes with various prices. I didn't go over $60 for any of them. I deliberately made them attractively affordable. And as I say, let's glance back at her catalog, because I've added quite a bit of stuff. This is from her high school, one of her high school sketchbooks. This is from college. This is the college. She has 4 distinct epochs, and unfortunately you can't organize them that way on here yet, or at least I haven't figured it out. There may be a way to organize them chronologically. And this thing here was really awesome. I watched her draw this, Archaic Earth. She was drawing this to illustrate one of my poems in my poetry collection called Archi. So I called it Archaic Earth. She didn't quite finish that one either. And then we've got some new ones here. This little series on astral beings. There are 3 of those. They're on some type of board. I remember holding them in my hands. They're on some type of board, but I'm not sure what you call it, canvas board or what have you. And then, so as I say, we've got 13 pages here of just lots of stuff. There's that awareness drawing I was referring to that could be a part of the Age of Catastrophe series, almost like an appendix. Maybe I'll retitle it and add it as an appendix to the end of the series there. Some of these are available today. I just made this one available on thin canvas, so that one's in there, and also Biomorphic Centaur should be available on thin canvas as well. And this monster, Biomechanical Giant, which I've just ordered, it'll be up on the wall behind me probably in about a week or maybe sooner. And then so all kinds of astral spirits, very spooky stuff. I love the monsters. Here's Daphne, obviously, and incredible details. She did this monstrosity in high school. That's something else for a high school student. That's pretty amazing, that the detail that's on there. 24 by 36 is as large as that gets. Some of these don't fit. The problem with Shopify is that their template is a Procrustean bed. If your image doesn't fit on it, too bad for you. It should be the other way around. The template they provide should be able to work with the image. And so for the ones that too much art would have been cut off, I simply posted it with the white bars on the side so that a person, if they want, they can, if they get it as a poster, they can just slice off the sides and then put it in a frame. Shopify is a very clumsy, awkward site and very badly organized, actually. And here she is as a tree goddess, Dryad. These are from high school. When you look at her first high school sketchbooks, they're very girly. She's very interested in girly things, but then about halfway through college, the monsters start coming in, and they never go away. And that's it for the girly stuff. And there she is again, Flower Fellatio and Flower Goddess, beautiful. and all kinds of incredibly detailed. Her strength was detail and color. She knew how colors fit together, and one of the most detailed artists of all time. Journey to the Center of the Earth, very David Lynchian, Jungle Morphica. I love this cat. Do you know why? Take a look at it. Can you think of one picture of a cat that any person ever drew that wasn't sentimental? Well, here you go. It's more like a cat demon than anything else. That's fucking awesome. That is just amazing. Looks a little like Batman almost, huh? And then let's see what else we've got here. Lots of stuff. Here's her and I from when we were in Phoenix. And she did this, a blurred selfie that I think is kind of interesting, almost like a Gerhard Richter type of blurred painting. This was pretty much the last picture I think I ever saw of her. She was in Hawaii there. She had a Hawaii jungle phase. And this is part of another sequence of 4 paintings, and I'm missing 2 of them, a cosmic sequence about morphogenesis of the solar system and on the astral plane. And she knew about Rudolf Steiner. I told her all about it, so she sort of had his cosmology in mind. Objects without memories, very interesting. Lots of influence from Deleuze and Guattari coming in. This is done in a German expressionist style, Filament and Baucis. This is a kind of pietà in one of her notebooks. And here's her working. And here we've got Pussy poster, which I'm going to get in very large size and put it on the wall behind me as an art print canvas. It's awesome. And then Razormouth too, another awesome poster. Now with Razormouth, I've begun experimenting with other products. A coffee mug, which I think would be fun to have, or a t-shirt. Walk into a room with that thing on your chest, you're going to get some attention. College kids would like that, even high school kids. And then Red Orgy has a couple of formats, art print and framed as well. And it just goes on and on and on with this girl's very fertile imagination. Self-portrait as a biomechanoid, obviously some strong H.R. Giger influences in there. Also some Francis Bacon influences, some David Lynch influences from his movies, influences from Beksinski and Lucian Freud as well. Some Picasso, obviously, over here. Just amazing. This is from high school, before the monsters came. And there she is, looking very cool and hip, and more and more stuff. And we're not even done here. This is a very short life. I think the earliest image I have is from her the 8th grade when she was 14. And let's see, did we pass it? It's just called, she titled it Buildings of Solitude. Yes, okay. And then that should be, I guess it was way back in the beginning. So we're still under construction here, but she painted, drew, and sculpted. Most of the sculpture is gone. She destroyed it all. She had a habit of destroying her own works. And let's see, Buildings of Solitude. So she starts at 14, and she was also a musician as well. Where did that painting go? It should be alphabetically here somewhere. Yeah, it's right here. So this is her. It's no masterpiece or anything, but it's pretty astonishing to get depth perspective perfectly correct there for a 14-year-old kid in the 8th grade. So from 14 to 28, she has an art cycle there. The painter Jean-Michel Basquiat only painted for 7 years. She painted for about twice as long, and her oeuvre is about twice as large as well. As I say, there's still a lot that I'm still recovering from it, from digital archives and so forth that have got scattered all over the place. Okay, so that's Mary Church. I'll put the link into her store for you guys to peruse. Stuff is already selling. People from Europe are already buying it. I figured the Europeans would get it first. A guy from Ireland bought a bunch of stuff. I figured this is a more European art sophistication than it is American. So they'll get the references a lot quicker than Americans. So, okay. See you on Shopify.